Curse of the Kichai Shaman. Chapter 10. End of the job. That Thursday morning, David had gone to work at the survey on Highway 281 as usual. This was the second to the last day they had to dig. He was assigned a unit that did not produce any artifacts all morning. Richard was working a few units over. He noticed Richard looking in his direction. He was not smiling this time. He looked like he was thinking. He did not look happy. About 11:10 a.m., David heard Richard's phone ring. He watched as Richard answered it. He did not talk for long and looked visibly shaken. Richard seemed preoccupied now and was not paying much attention to his unit. David could not stop glancing over at Richard. It looked like he was just sitting there thinking and not digging in his unit at all. Then around 12:30 p.m., David heard Richard's phone ring again. David was watching him answer it. He was not on the phone long. He had a terrified look on his face. Richard stepped out of the unit he was working on and then fell to his knees and vomited. Another ODOT archaeologist came over to check on him, but he shrugged her off and quickly left the dig site. David decided that he would go to the toilet so he could follow Richard. He saw him get in his car in the parking area and speed off down the highway with music blaring. David went to the toilet and then back to his unit and continued to dig. This day, though stressful, had given him a sense of satisfaction. About 4:15 p.m., David's phone rang. It was Detective Hayes from the Anadarko Police Department. He said, "I want to congratulate you, but I also need to warn you." He told David, "The Cleveland County Sheriff's Office served a search warrant on the house you identified to me this morning. One suspect resisted and was shot and killed. In the house, they discovered 3 women that were held captive that had been reported missing. There was a reward offered by the community of $10,000 for information that led to their safe return. I put you in for the reward for all 3. It has not been finalized, but it is possible that you will get $30,000 because of the information you gave. That is the congratulations. Now the warning. Preliminary ballistics determined with a cursory investigation of the bullet pulled from your truck that the handgun that fired it was a Glock 9mm. At the scene, they recovered 1 firearm that did not match the bullet pulled from your truck. Preliminary interviews with the women found in the home state that they claimed there were 3 men that abducted them. The handgun that shot your truck has not been found, and 2 yet-to-be-identified men have not been apprehended. They are still out there and could be a danger to you, so please be careful." David said, "You need to check out Richard Nergal. I believe he is involved." About 11:15 a.m., he got a phone call and looked worried. At 12:30, he got another phone call, vomited, and fled in his car. Detective Hayes asked, "How do you spell last name?" David said, Nergal, Nergal. Detective Hayes said, "Thank you and be careful." David could not believe the news, but it made sense to him. The types of chemical assaults that Richard had used on him are also used in the abduction of women. David was elated that he had helped rescue the young women. But he was concerned that Richard was still out there as well as one other guy. David was still being cautious when he left work. He knew Richard had fled, but he still purged his truck of any possible chemicals by running the air conditioner with the doors open while he waited 5 minutes outside. He did not know who or where the other man was. On his way to the hotel, he stopped at Conoco and got 3 pre-made sandwiches and some Body Armor sports drinks. He planned on having a sandwich for dinner and a sandwich for breakfast and not leaving his hotel. Then he had to make it through one more day working on Highway 281. He stayed in his room all evening and lay down about 10 p.m. that night. His mind was racing. He lay awake for several hours. When he looked at his phone, it was 1:08 a.m. in the morning. Despite all the stress, he was finally getting tired. David was walking on a downtown street crowded with people when he saw Richard. Richard looked back and saw him and quickly darted around the corner of a building. David quickened his pace to try and catch up. When he went around the corner, Richard was right there waiting for him with a gun. When he quickly turned around to flee, there was a man in all black with a skull-printed face mask with a gun pointed at him. He heard a gunshot but felt nothing. Then the man in black slumped to the ground and a young woman was standing behind him with a gun of her own. Her gun was smoking. She said, "He had it coming for what he did." David turned around and saw Richard running away. David woke up. He was having a realistic dream again. It was morning, and within 15 minutes, his alarm sounded, so he got ready for his last day on Highway 281. He packed up his belongings and checked out of the Castle Inn and Suites. At work on the Highway 281 survey, Richard was nowhere to be seen. He had not shown up for work. At the morning meeting, the lead ODOT archaeologist said that they were going to clean up the site and get it prepared for being recovered with earth. They took down the canopy, collected the laptops, folded the tables and chairs, and loaded them on a truck. It was over. David felt a sense of relief leaving this place for the last time. He drove for 6 hours until 11:15 p.m. before he got back to his home in Austin. Helene was very happy to see him. The next day, David and Helene had a long talk about the dangerous situation David was in. They decided that David would carry a pistol. David went to his safe and got out his gun case. In it, he had a Sig Sauer P226 9mm pistol. The Sig Sauer P226 was a full-sized pistol. He wanted a smaller pistol. He did some research, and Saturday morning he drove 20 minutes to Saddle Rock Armory. He looked at compact models of pistols, and since he liked his Sig Sauer 9mm, he decided to get a Sig Sauer 380 micro-compact P238 pistol. He also got a Kydex inside waistband holster, 2 extra magazines, and 2 50-round boxes of 380 ammunition. The gun laws in Texas had changed in 2021, and you could conceal carry in public, but there were places you could not go without a license to carry. So David took the license to carry class at Rock Island Armory, then went online and filled out the LTC application. Once that had been accepted by the Department of Public Safety, he made an appointment to get his fingerprints and photo taken. He went into the DPS building on Wednesday to do that, and a week later got his LTC card in the mail. It was now perfectly legal for him to carry his pistol in most places. David then got word from United Environmental Solutions that as of October the 2nd, he would be working at Washington on Brazos, which is the site where the Texas Declaration of Independence was signed in 1836. He would be there for the month of October doing archaeological surveys to locate where buildings once stood. However, he had to appear in court on September 27th in Anadarko, Oklahoma for his pending operating while intoxicated court case. He drove to Oklahoma on the 26th and checked in to the Castle Inn and Suites. The next morning, he had to be at the Caddo County Courthouse at 9 a.m. for his case. He got there at 8:30 a.m. and sat in the gallery. He had come prepared to pay a large fine. The bailiff said, "All rise, the Honorable Judge Emerson presiding." For some reason, his case was the first one called. The prosecutor was sitting at a table off to the right of a podium. As he was going up to the podium, he saw Officer Whitehorse. Officer Whitehorse sat at the table with the prosecutor, and then another man sat down at this table also. It was Detective Hayes. The prosecutor stood up and addressed the court. He said, "According to Detective Hayes of the Anadarko Police Department, the defendant, David Madur, has an open case where he was the subject of an attempted shooting and has provided evidence of a chemical assault upon his vehicle in the days leading up to his OWI offense. The defendant provided information that led to the rescue of Cindy Lewis, Stephanie Malo, and Tina Spotted Horse from a house in Cleveland County. It is the opinion of Detective Hayes that the defendant's claims of his drink being spiked with Rohypnol against his will that led to his OWI offense is true and requests that all charges be dropped." Judge Emerson said, "So be it. By order of the court, all charges are dismissed." The prosecutor said, "Thank you, Your Honor." David left a free man and immediately drove back to Austin, Texas. The next day, he got a check in the mail for $30,000. It was the reward money for providing the information that led to the rescue of Cindy Lewis, Stephanie Malo, and Tina Spotted Horse. David drove to his bank and deposited the check.